Formula One fans, Loïc Serra just unveiled the gray areas. Human creativity knows no limits, declared Ferrari's technical director, and Ferrari will have gray areas on the 2026 car. Serra openly exposes himself. The prancing horse will also play on the edge of the limits. The 2026 regulations will be practically brand new, and all teams will invent designs at the limit. We've seen how chaos erupted with the possibly illegal solution on the Mercedes and Red Bull engines. But Serra defends this approach. I think what we call gray areas are nothing but human creativity, thinking about things no one ever thought about before. And Ferrari is preparing something innovative. The B version of the 2026 car will radically change nose and suspensions. Radiators in different positions. More tapered rear. Pushrod front and rear. Like in 2010. Everything at the regulation limit. And the FIA could soon change evaluation criteria. Between 6 or 7 races, Mercedes and Red Bull will have to modify their power units? Stay with me because what I'm about to tell you is fundamental. Loïc Serra, Ferrari's technical director, has spoken about the gray areas that 2026 cars will have with the new regulations. Ferrari will also play on the edge of the limits. The 2026 Ferrari will be the first car designed by Loïc Serra, who is technical director of the Maranello team. Human creativity knows no limits. It's a message to make clear that the new prancing horse car will also play on the edge of gray areas. The 2026 regulations will be practically brand new, and all teams will invent designs at the limit to have some major advantage. We've seen how chaos erupted with the possibly illegal solution on the Mercedes and Red Bull engines. The FIA was aware of everything and would like to ban the trick starting from 2027, but Ferrari, Honda, and Audi are furious. The new Maranello car will bring so much innovation with it. With a group led by technical director Loïc Serra, the Frenchman has always specialized in vehicle dynamics, bringing the platform to best exploit Pirelli tires. Now here's his thought on gray areas to motorsport.com microphones. I think what we call gray areas are nothing but human creativity, thinking about things no one ever thought about before. Serra thus makes it clear that the prancing horse rightly might have also found something that could yield an advantage at technical limits. Obviously, teams consult with the FIA before producing any element, which decides whether to give the okay or not. 2026 sees radical change on all fronts, and gray areas fascinate Serra. Here's why. I don't believe a new regulation, after a year or 4 after its introduction, changes something in the general framework. It doesn't change the general framework. It changes the scope of exploration. Because at the beginning of a new regulation, everything is still immature. We're more likely to see big differences because concepts aren't yet converging. But look at this year. Look at 2025. You've seen gray areas, many, to explore. People are thinking, everyone thought? There's no margin for error? Actually, whether Formula One regulations are stable or not, human creativity knows no limits, every year. And not just every year, but every week. I see people who have new ideas and I think to myself, oh look, we had thought about that. We had thought about that. It's fascinating. But then you know it's happening everywhere. It's one of the most epical changes Formula One has faced in recent years. And from a technical point of view, rivals are looking for anything to be ahead of opponents. We've seen, for example, Mercedes and Red Bull trying to exploit a different compression ratio to have more power than on the straight. We've also seen it in the past. Let's think, for example, in 2009, with Braun GP that was capable of dominating thanks to the double diffuser and having a huge advantage, especially in the first part of the season. And for this reason, 2026 will also be a year full of discussions. We'll see many different solutions from teams, and certainly Mercedes and Red Bull have bet heavily on the power unit part. And I want to revisit Loïc Serra's words, who not coincidentally goes to defend Mercedes. being himself also an ex-Mercedes man, having worked for many years when Mercedes was at the top, and winning in the hybrid era with Lewis Hamilton. There you go. Serra defended Mercedes' choice to bring a decision at the regulation limit, exploiting gray areas to go faster. He says that anyway at the beginning, everyone will try to explore different directions, and this could lead to concepts not entirely converging. So we'll see different aerodynamic choices, but also engine choices, and this statement from Serra is fundamental because it makes us understand Ferrari is preparing something innovative. That's the fruit of creativity from engineers inside Maranello for 2026. And so not only Mercedes and Red Bull have an engine with 18:1 compression ratio, and then 16:1 in tests, which the FIA reiterated is legal for 2026. But the same thing could instead happen for Ferrari in another field. We know Ferrari is also preparing a B version of its car. In fact, Ferrari will follow a two-step approach with the 2026 car. The version we'll see in Barcelona will arrive, which won't be the definitive one. In fact, in 2026 in Barcelona, an A version will arrive. As Frédéric Vasseur himself also confirmed, team principal of the team, and Ferrari's objective in Spain won't be pure performance. In particular, a B specification will arrive that will radically change compared to the A version. Watch out for the nose, for the suspensions. The front of the car revealed itself as one of the most complex areas to manage. And not only is there the introduction of active aerodynamics in 2026, but also a new two-phase crash test, which led to a complete rethinking of the nose. The directing of airflow toward the floor and side pods will be crucial, with a key role played by radiator sizing, which obviously will play a fundamental role. In the air passing next to the side pods and under the side pod area. In the B version of the new Ferrari, we could witness a different positioning of these. Of the radiators, aimed at tapering the car's rear. Suspensions will also change, which in 2026 return to the pushrod scheme, both front and rear. A choice that aims at narrowing the lower sections of the chassis, and therefore has a more tapered nose and a more compact rear. So we'll see a more tapered version of Ferrari. Between the A version, a bit more unripe. Embryonic, which will serve to test the car's reliability, and a B version instead more performing, and also more tapered, precisely in all its areas, especially at the rear, everything at the regulation limit, exploiting gray areas. But there's still margin anyway. There's always margin in Formula One, Serra said. Every week someone has a new idea that no one thought about before. And this thing happens in all teams. And so if we want, Ferrari somehow goes to defend Mercedes. But why does it do so? Well, certainly because they too will have a very aggressive plan B. On the Ferrari that will arrive precisely in this B version, which will be at the regulation limit, it will have exploited gray areas in its favor. But watch out that possible new developments on engine regulations will arrive soon. With the hybrid era when we saw a Mercedes engine, that gave Mercedes a minute over opponents. It was a truly unacceptable scenario because we saw races dominated by Mercedes without opponents being able to fight on track. And so Serra is right. Human creativity knows no limits. Every week someone has a new idea, and Ferrari is working on gray areas. That we'll see in the B version. Tapered nose, compact rear, radiators in different positions, pushrod front and rear. Everything at the regulation limit. This is Project 678, and it could change everything.